I don't have a name for this particular radio show because I wasn't sure I was going to do another one. If you go back to my YouTube page and you look at my other video, I honestly thought that that was all I needed to say, that there was absolutely nothing I could have added. You know, in that particular one, we talked about a lot of things. And I thought, yeah, this covers it all. There's no way anybody else, would have to make me make another one of these stupid videos, radio show like things. So I don't know if I'm going to make another one after this, but after reading, like whenever you turn on the news or Facebook, you want to go, oh my God, I just wish I could just, but you can't go on Twitter because you get 140 characters. Like you can rant on Twitter, and you try ranting on Facebook, and after the first couple lines, people stop reading because even if they agree with you, they don't want to read. Nobody reads anymore. So I figure, you know what? I am going to rant and try to reach as many people as I can. And so I'm going to make another segment of this. So like I said, if you look back at the video list, I posted a segment about the Electoral College, about why we have it, why we need it, and why Hillary's lead, this millions and millions of votes lead, is total BS. I even gave a fair warning to the millennials about how to fix their malfunction before they truly lose everything for good. Because they're the main reason Trump won. From being too apathetic to actually go out and vote to make a difference, to even pushing those who agree with them over to Trump's side with their pathetic safe spaces and rioting and constant false allegations. Some people just couldn't take it anymore and were worried about the next generation being just like them and said, I know this can't happen. So if Trump could fix it, let's at least give Trump a chance then, because this ain't working anymore. So it's basically the millennials' fault that we have Trump. And I gave them that whole entire video. I gave out all the reasons that we voted for Trump. And a lot of them was because of the millennials. And I gave the millennials a heads up of what they can do to change things if they ever want to see themselves winning again. And one of them was just basically to grow up. But then, like I said, I explained the Electoral College. I explained why we have it. I explained why we need it, not just for us, but it also works on your behalf as well. So, I mean, it's a great video. It's, a little over an hour long, but everything that I say there, hopefully is going to help somebody. So go ahead and go and look at that video. But I'm sure a lot of it fell on deaf ears, should anybody have listened, of course. As soon as they probably saw this is not a safe space at the beginning of the video, half of the ones who needed to listen to it probably ran for their binkies and passies, so the ones who really needed to listen to it probably didn't. But hopefully, maybe somebody is going to be open-minded enough to hear the message. But you know what? Let's talk about the idiocy we've been seeing in the news lately. That's why I decided, screw it. I'm coming out of retirement. I'm not going to do a one-only show. I need to talk about this because this is getting really ridiculous. The millennials have been making this really fun because it just gets worse every time they walk out the door. I mean, they wake up in the morning and it's just like, how can I make myself look as stupid as possible today? So it makes my job really fun. It makes me want to do these kind of radio shows / YouTube video things because it's just so hilarious. The idiocy is so hilarious. So let's take a look at some of the things that have been happening shortly after Trump was called the winner. Okay, first, a Muslim girl accused a Trump supporter of trying to rip off her hijab in what was described as a hate crime. Yes, a hate crime. A Trump supporter actually felt empowered by Trump's win and tried to rip a hijab off of a Muslim girl. And it took about 5 minutes for her to recant the story, and she is now charged with filing a false hate crime. Because it turns out, guess what? It wasn't true. Shock and awe. She lied. I didn't realize Hillary supporters did that. She's such a pillar of the community. She's such a good example. How could a Hillary supporter be a liar? 2 Jewish Clinton supporters were caught red-handed spray painting swastikas on buildings. And they were trying to make it look as if Trump supporters did it. 2 more Hillary supporters caught lying? I don't understand it. Hillary supporters lying about hate crimes. I mean, who would do that? I mean, she's such an example of honesty that I can't believe a Hillary supporter would lie about a hate crime. I'm sorry. Okay. Also in the news, one woman recently made a false allegation that she was raped. She actually went and reported that she had been raped. And later she recanted, admitting that she lied, but that she only lied because she was so distraught over the election results and was in such utter shock that Trump won, she felt she had no choice but to make up a rape allegation. Another genius of society was stopped for speeding and was found to have been 3 times over the legal limit. 3 times over the legal limit. She was drunk as a skunk. And once again, she claimed that putting lives of innocent drivers on the road with her in danger was acceptable because she was distraught over the election results. And most recently, we have a bisexual woman who claimed that she found a homophobic message taped to her door that basically said something about her homosexuality. It's since been removed, so I don't actually have it to read it right now. But at the bottom of it, there was a hashtag Trump. Because, Trump supporters are writing on pieces of paper, hashtag Trump. They're identifying themselves to make sure that that they're the ones that are spreading the homophobic propaganda. They want you to know it's a Trump supporter. And, every Trump supporter uses the hashtag on a piece of paper. Because we're too stupid to know that a hashtag doesn't work outside of the internet. She actually wanted us to believe that a Trump supporter identified themselves as committing a hate crime. We want you to know that we're Trump supporters and we're committing a hate crime. We want you to know this. And that they used hashtag Trump on a written piece of paper. Well, surprise, freaking surprise. It didn't take very long for it to turn out that she was lying. And not only is she now in hiding and refuses to answer any questions that are coming from the media that she ran to with this falsehood, when they want her, they want to talk about the fact that she had been caught lying, she's suddenly in hiding. And all of the references, all of the pictures of this alleged hate crime message that was left on her door and all of the messages that she posted to Facebook and Twitter mysteriously disappeared. In fact, the reason that we knew what the letter said was because she still had one hanger-on supporter, one person who still believed her despite her being discredited. But yeah, that one's been since deleted too. It turns out that, it was such a lie that even her only supporter could no longer support her. I mean, it's ridiculous. Oh, and that's happening everywhere. That's the problem. It's happening everywhere. They talk about Trump being a racist, bigot, sexist, homophobe. And when asked to point to anything, they'll fake all of these hate crimes and then point to it as proof. They'll actually go out and fake a hate crime just so that they have something to point to when they're throwing these false accusations out there. I mean, you want to talk about hate. These people hate Trump so much, and they hate Trump supporters so much that they're willing to fake a hate crime. And they don't care if they're actually caught because they're hoping that maybe one fake hate crime's gonna stick. But they're love Trump's hate. They're holding the signs, love Trump's hate. And we're gonna kick your ass until you agree with us. How many windows do we have to break until you understand that love Trump's hate? How many false allegations of rapes and hate crimes do we have to fake before you realize that we're all about love? And I mean, it's ridiculous. Then they claim, they talk about this Bannon from Breitbart, who is on Trump's staff now. And they claim he's anti-Semitic, even though his daughter is Jewish. And they claim he's a homophobe, even though one of the brightest stars that he helped create was Milo Yiannopoulos, a very out-of-the-closet gay man. They claim he's sexist and racist, even though he employs women and black men. But he doesn't think like they do. He doesn't believe what they believe in. He doesn't stand up for what they stand up for. He doesn't have the same opinions that they do. So he's not diverse and thus must be hated. And that's an okay version of hate. Love trumps hate, but it's okay to hate those kind of people who don't think like us. We're about diversity. We're about love. So we have to hate the people who are not like us and don't think like us and have different opinions than us. I mean, do you see? This is the liberal mentality. They actually believe that they are diverse and for love because they hate people who aren't like them. I mean, seriously, people. They also point at Pence, our new vice president-elect, saying that he is for forced homosexual conversion therapy using electroshock therapy. Even Snopes, which has been caught lying on behalf of Obama and the Clintons and has a very leftist agenda, even had to say, this is not true. The only thing that can ever be credited to Pence is the fact that he says if a homosexual chooses to go through conversion therapy of their own volition, he would support them. If it's their choice. He never said anything about forced conversion, and he never said anything about electroshock therapy. The only thing he ever said was that if they choose of their own volition and their own desire, that it should be available to them. Because, choice. Our body, our choice. Well, some homosexuals actually choose to try to go to conversion therapy. Whether you agree with it or not, they should have the right to choose, and that's all he's saying. But yet the left, they lie. Then you have people like Capertwit. He's constantly out there taking a knee for injustices in America and talking about how there needs to be a change in America's thinking, but yet he's too apathetic to go to the polls and be a part of the solution. He's all for his 15 minutes of fame as he takes the knee disrespecting our flag and the men and women who shed their blood for it. But to be part of the solution? Now we're talking too much. We're asking way too much of him. Oh, no. That's asking too much. For him to be part of the solution, to be part of the change? No. It's the same with that cast of Hamilton. They're all lecturing Pence about diversity and how he and Trump need to stand up for all of America now. They're all for calling him out and embarrassing him when he paid good money to bring his children and his children's friends to the show to support the cast, financially support the cast, and be in the audience to support the cast. He's there, but they took it upon themselves to point him out, to single him out, to humiliate him in front of his children and his children's friends, to lecture him on diversity and how he needs to stand up for all of America. But the cast, once again, couldn't be bothered themselves to actually go out and vote. Some of them haven't voted in years. All of them legally able to. They just decided they didn't want to. This is the same cast who believes in diversity, but yet put a no whites need apply casting call out there. Again, in case you missed it, diverse means differences in race, religion, thoughts, beliefs, ideas, and personality. That means a straight white man is as diverse as a black gay unicorn. It's not about being a minority, it's about being different. And we're all different. Even identical twins can be diverse from one another because they have their own separate beliefs, feelings, and way of experiencing new things. Just because they're identical in looks doesn't mean that they're going to experience things the same way. Or one person may go to Yale while the other person goes to a community college. So they're going to have different life experiences, even though they're identical twins. So even though they're identical, they are still diverse. That's what diversity is. Diversity doesn't mean being a minority. It just means being different. And everyone is different. Then you have all the people that are out there rioting in anger that Trump won. The vast majority of them either legally weren't allowed to vote because they're illegal immigrants, so legally they are not allowed to vote. Or they are people who are legally allowed to vote but chose not to. Yet they now feel they have a say in what happened. I mean, seriously. People with no understanding of the definition of diversity, people who are angry at the results of an election they didn't feel the need to participate in, people who fake hate crimes because they are distraught over the results of an election, which they likely didn't participate in. These are the types of people who support Hillary, these pillars of community who can't even pull their shit together without a diaper pin to let people know there's safe spaces. These are the ones we're supposed to take seriously? Think about it. They actually want the Electoral College to change their vote in December, which they legally cannot do. And even if they could, since they are the voice of the people of their state, they'd be run out of the state with pitchforks and torches for stealing the voice of the people. But these hate crime fakers, safe space needing, apathetic morons who have less than a remedial knowledge of how things work in this country want us to let them run the show? Seriously? After the riots, false accusations, fake hate crimes, the lack of understanding of how the Electoral College works and why it's there, we're supposed to let them basically get their way because they're throwing a giant temper tantrum? They think they know how to make America strong and prosperous? Really? Then they try to tell us that the uneducated or undereducated voted for Trump. These people who have no idea what the Electoral College even is and want to abolish it, they don't understand the rules, yet they want people to break them. They don't even have a remedial grasp of the basic definition of tolerance, acceptance, and diversity, but they demand it. Are saying that people who voted for Trump are the uneducated and undereducated. Again, where are the highest levels of dropouts from grade school? Where's the highest level of poverty? The lowest level of those who go to college? Where are there more people on welfare than there are those in the job market? The inner cities that are run mainly by Democrats, if not solely by Democrats, for pretty much the city's entire modern history. They think college is what makes you smart. The undereducated and uneducated people they are talking about are those who didn't continue to college or those who didn't finish college. And I'll admit, you know what? I'm one of those. Here's the thing, however. As a non-college grad, I have a 128 IQ. That's far above average and much higher than 80% of the millennials in college right now. I was smart enough to know that a degree means nothing anymore. Gender studies? Oh, that's going to get you big bucks. Flipping burgers at McDonald's. Political science? Because, yeah, look at all those majors out there who didn't even know who Biden was, and that he's our current VP, and couldn't identify Ronald Reagan from a photo. But they're political science majors. That education's working out real well. That's mom and dad's money well spent. Journalism? Oh, well, we all know how people trust and admire the journalists nowadays. You see, truly smart people realize that getting a degree and spending tens of thousands of dollars or more to get that degree and still end up working at McDonald's isn't worth it unless you're becoming a doctor or a veterinarian or a nurse or something that's actually important in this world. A degree is less important than a piece of toilet paper to everyone else. Even veterinary technicians, which are animal nurses, they can be trained on the job now at many emergency hospitals. I worked as a veterinary technician. I never went to school a day for it, but yet I knew just as much as those who spent hundreds of thousands of dollars attending veterinary school. Because I learned on the job. We had to learn. As soon as that emergency was in there was no time for second guessing. You just did. And so I learned very quickly. And I learned that there were no screw-ups. There were no mistakes. There were no accidents. You just did it and you did it right the first time. So there are people that get on the job training for certain things nowadays. I mean, gender science and psychology and political science and journalism. Half of y'all are going to be working at Burger King. So why waste all that money? You know, the people that are actually making the bigger money are the uneducated that are working jobs where you actually have to physically go out and work, where you have to put in a hard day's effort. People are actually making their own jobs. They're like, you know what? I'm not fit for anything right now that there's a degree for. So I'm just going to make my own business. People are becoming hairdressers and opening their own salons. People are becoming groomers and opening their own dog salons, and they're making good money doing it. And they don't have college degrees. College doesn't equal intelligence. An IQ is something that you've always had. It's not something you gradually develop by going to school. Many college dropouts have IQs on par with scientists. So this whole stupid people voted for Trump is bullcrap. Especially when you look at the Trump supporters versus the ones that are on the streets right now that are anti-Trump. There's this one, she had to be about 400, maybe 450 pounds. She's dressed like a hooker Godzilla. She's basically wearing a sports bra like crop top thing. And this micro mini skirt, this green sequenced micro mini skirt that is stretched beyond its limits. I mean, it is, and no, I'm not fat shaming. I am part of the could stand to lose a few pounds crowd myself, but let's face it, facts are facts, people. This was like a 450-pound woman wearing a micro mini skirt and a sports bra. And then she's got like a little tail that's supposed to be like a Godzilla tail. And then she goes and she's trampling on this cardboard cutout of Trump Towers to make it look like Godzilla's destroying Trump community. She is destroying Trump. And then she takes a picture of Trump and rips it up and stomps on it like Godzilla. And then she rips off her top, exposing her, and you know, she's not wearing a bra, mind you. She's exposing her boobs, which are so far to her knees. You want to talk about being stretched to the limits? Oh my God. I mean, seriously, don't watch that video because you'll have nightmares for the rest of your life. But so she's basically exposing herself in public with these, like I said, with a skirt that's stretched to the limits and boobs that are stretched as far down to her ankles as they could possibly go. Yeah, I'm sure she's one of those highly educated Clinton supporters. Or how about the 112 people who were arrested in Oregon the first few days of protesting for getting out of hand and rioting? 70% of them never even voted. Yeah, another set of highly educated Clinton supporters. How about those law students that need Play-Doh and coloring book sessions to get over the lawful election? That's education really well paid for. Hundreds of thousands of dollars to become a lawyer so that they can play with Play-Doh and coloring books because they didn't get their way. Education well spent. These same geniuses are still saying that Hillary should win because of the popular vote. You know, like she should have won all of these scientific polls that showed her bajillions of points ahead of Trump, despite word on the street being that no one liked her, no one trusted her, and even her own party were voting Trump. You know, it's funny because they want an investigation into the elections, especially in states like Michigan and Wisconsin, where Trump won, but not by a large margin. But, you know, he still won. Sure, go ahead. Let's do an investigation. Let's see how many other tens of thousands of felons were paid off to vote for Hillary in exchange for those pardons. Let's see if voterfraud.org was telling the truth, that 3 million illegal immigrants may have cast a ballot in this election, and let's find out how many of those went to Hillary. Let's see how many of those dead people, they were caught red-handed on camera signing up, actually voted. So sure, let's go there. Seriously, again, they were caught red-handed committing voter registration fraud in favor of Hillary Clinton. A governor pardoned 60,000 felons in exchange for votes for Hillary Clinton. Electronic ballots were glitching, and many people started to record the glitches to prove they were happening, all in favor of Hillary Clinton. There were people who were caught on camera ripping up ballots of Trump voters in favor of Hillary Clinton. So yeah, let's play this game. Because you may actually find out that Hillary's already illegitimate lead grows smaller and smaller with each investigation, as long as it's led by somebody independent and not in the bag for Hillary like shrills like Comey and Lynch and the mainstream media. But if it was by somebody who was honest and dedicated and independent and couldn't care less about who wins, we might find out that the illegitimate lead we know Hillary already has is maybe a lot smaller than it looks. And let's talk about what else we've been seeing in the news lately. While people who aren't supposed to legally be in this country are waving the Mexican flag in protest of Trump's win, a woman killed a new mother and kidnapped her newborn child. Why? Because she lied about being pregnant and needed a baby to prove she had a child. Why? Because she's here illegally. Back in July, she was arrested in Kansas, and ICE wanted to have a chance to request that she be held pending deportation, but she was released. Why was she arrested in July? For threatening a woman with a knife and trying to hold her daughter's ransom. And more than likely, it's going to turn out that the reason she killed this new mother and kidnapped this young, innocent, newborn baby was because she needed an anchor baby. A child born in the U.S., and thus you can't, separate a family because the baby is a legal U.S. citizen, so the mother has to stay, right? So she killed an innocent woman and kidnapped her innocent child, and she wasn't even supposed to be in this country. But Trump is the racist because he wants to build a wall and make people come here the right way. And while everyone is trying to claim Black Lives Matter is not an incendiary hate group, a 29-year-old police officer is now dead after being shot in the head in Detroit by a black man. A black couple in Alabama planted a fake bomb at an elementary school in hopes of luring cops into an ambush where they planned on shooting them up when they arrived. The kids be damned, right? And I know people who will say, well, you can't pin that on Black Lives Matter. Well, then how can you pin every crime a white person commits on white supremacy? But you do. Like you're trying to tie Trump to an alt-right hate group who praised the fact that he was elected. He's never met them. He's never seen them before. He didn't even know they existed, and he's denounced them, but he's still forever tied to them, according to you. But then we have Clinton, who meets with Black Lives Matter people, the ones that are out there yelling, pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon. What do we want? Dead cops. What do we want them now? She has them as advisors to her campaign, and it's wonderful. Obama invites him to the White House, and it's fantastic. But yet he never seems to come out when a police officer has been shot by a black person. He doesn't come out when they were chanting pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon. Where is he with these two black people who were trying to ambush cops by leading them into a fake bomb situation so that they could shoot them up on an elementary school playground where there are kids around? Where's Obama now? But yeah, a bunch of random yo-hos throw up a Hail Trump, and Trump's tied to them forever, even though he's never met them, never heard of them, and denounces them immediately. Do you see how crazy that is? And they want us to follow their lead. These liberal crybaby diaper pin wearing, safe space needing, fake hate crime committing, rape accusation lying, coloring book and Play-Doh wanting grown ass adults acting like toddlers want us to take them serious enough to tear down the foundations of our Constitution and let them have their way. Because they would make such great rational decisions, right? Right? Fake hate crimes? Marching in the streets to protest something they didn't even participate in, throwing out rape accusations because I was upset over the election. Yeah, let's go and tell a real rape victim or the real hate crime victim and see how they feel about those allegations. Oh, you were sad that you didn't get your way in the election that you probably didn't even vote in? That's why you said you were raped? Oh, I totally understand. Yeah, I get it. You weren't really sexually assaulted, but you were angry, so it's totally cool that you lashed out. I get it. Yeah, I would love to see that fake rape accuser actually make that argument to someone who suffered through a sexual assault. Or these fake hate crime Jewish kids explain why they did it to a Holocaust survivor. Well, Trump didn't, we don't like him. He won, and we feel he's a Nazi. Yeah, that'll fly, kid. So I'm talking to the adults again in here, the real adults. Go back and replay this video. Replay the last video that I've posted and replay them over and over. Because if you're not careful, these morons will be in charge one of these days if they're allowed to have their way. And then what? Iran already thinks that we're weak. They're thumbing their noses at us, stealing our money, kidnapping and humiliating our men and women while holding them for ransom that they know our weak president will pay. Russia, who is decades ahead of us in weaponry and the nuclear program, are tired of people like Obama and Clinton constantly belittling them and blaming them and saying bad things about them. And we have a president who will bow down to our enemies and apologize to foreign countries for America's values. Yet these numbnuts you see out in the street calling for a do-over think that's awesome. We're on the precipice of becoming the next Middle East if we don't grow up. We're going to be at constant war with stronger governments, terrorists, foreign invaders, and we're fighting amongst each other. So let's make sure that we start suppressing the voices of these liars, these charlatans, these agitators who have the balls to speak against what's wrong with America, as long as they don't have to do anything of value to make it a better place. Let's do what Trump said he's going to do, whether he does it or not. Even if it turns out that he is a fraud himself, we grown adults are going to make America great again. We won't need him. We won't need anybody. We are going to make America great again ourselves. We are going to take America back ourselves from these apathetic, self-absorbed, indoctrinated, lower-educated millennials before they are the ruin of this country and indoctrinate the next generation to their idiocy. So until next time, chickadees, suck it up, buttercups. And in honor of the easily offended, Happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, God bless you. Jesus is the reason for the season. Keep Christ in Christmas. Amen. Okay, so since I said goodbye just recently, this is actually a new day, and I wanted to add a by the by because something that just came out that's absolutely hilarious needed to be discussed before I actually said goodbye to you and closed off this particular show. Jill Stein, who is the candidate for the Green Party that did abysmally. I mean, in most states, she got 0.001% of the votes. I don't think she registered nationally. I'm not 100% sure, but I know that what is Aleppo, stick my tongue out at a reporter, Gary Johnson, did way better than she did. So you may wonder, what dog does she have in this pony show? Well, she's trying to raise, crowdfunded, over $2 million to contest the election in a few different states, citing the possibility of hacking in favor of Trump. That's right, hacking in favor of Trump. And that's why he won these states that she thinks should have gone to Hillary Clinton. Okay, I just kind of want to bring up the ridiculousness of it. I want to remind you of a few things about why she's an idiot. Okay, first off, we know thanks to video and email that cannot be disputed. In fact, some of people that were volunteering for Hillary Clinton and that were part of the Hillary Clinton campaign stepped down when this was released. We know from Project Veritas and from WikiLeaks that there was a concerted effort to commit widespread voter registration fraud. They were signing up illegals. They were signing people up in multiple counties. They were signing up dead people's names. And why would they do that? Because there was a desire to go on forward, which probably did happen, and commit voter fraud under the names of the illegitimate people that had registered. You know, the names of the dead people, the names of people who are not here legally, names of people in multiple counties. Their whole plan was to put somebody in the spot of those names, usually in the states that do not require voter ID, and then have them cast an erroneous vote in favor of Hillary Clinton. So we know that the voter registration fraud was for Clinton. And you know that if anybody moved forward with the actual voter fraud, based on the registration fraud efforts, it would have been in favor of Hillary Clinton. So we already know that it's already fraudulently in favor of Clinton. So now let's go to the electronic ballots that she thinks are so hackable. And I don't know, maybe she thinks the Russians did it, or I don't know. But if you looked at the videos that were coming up online during the election day, There were many people who are recording themselves because they knew they wouldn't be believed if they didn't. But it was showing that you could vote for anybody under the sun. You could vote for Hillary Clinton. You could vote for Gary Johnson. You could even vote for Jill Stein if you wanted to. But if you tried to vote for Trump, that's when there was a glitch. You couldn't get it to work for Trump. You had to reboot the system, or you had to, do all of this rigmarole just to get it to actually vote for Trump. And then after you submitted it, you don't know if it glitched again. Because, if you were having that much trouble in the first place, what's to say that it didn't erase your vote after it's sent? So you could vote for Hillary Clinton, you could vote for Jill Stein, you could vote for Gary Johnson, but you could not vote for Trump in these electronic ballots that she thinks are hackable in favor of Trump. So that's, like I said, there were people that were recording videos to prove they couldn't vote for Trump. And now here's one more thing that I want you to take into consideration. Michigan is one of the places that she wants to have recounted because of the possibility of hacking. And I want to actually read for you something that comes out of the state of Michigan. Let's see here. It says Chris Thomas, the longtime director of Michigan's Bureau of Elections, he basically does not know why Michigan is being cited as a source of potential hacking because we are on an entire paper and optical scan state. There is nothing connected to the internet. And basically what that means is you get a paper ballot, you fill it in with a pen, and you slide it through a reader, and it counts your ballot, and that's it. There's nothing connected to the internet. There's nothing hackable. It's a paper ballot system. And that's it. And yet they're being cited as one of the places that she's demanding to raise millions of dollars to force them to do a recount because they might have been hacked. Those paper ballots might have been hacked. Because now apparently the Russians can hack paper. This is how stupid the left is, y'all. All y'all that are voting for Hillary Clinton and Jill Stein, these are your leaders. These are the people you're emulating. A woman who thinks Russia can hack paper ballots and is demanding a recount. A woman who is basically a crook who doesn't know whether a C means classified or if it's alphabetical, even though there was no A, B, D, E, F, G. Just C's on a whole bunch of different emails. But she, as the Secretary of State, did not know that meant classified. And then you have the people you're following who are out there in protest, like the 300 or 450-pound woman dressed as Godzilla hooker, stamping on different, all these. She's doing simulated sex acts with the a cardboard cutout of Trump Tower in front of children, mind you. There were children. If you watch that video, if you think that you won't need to burn your eyes later, she's actually doing simulated sexual acts on Trump Tower in front of children. She's taking a picture of Trump and rubbing it on her genitalia and then ripping it up in front of children, and then she exposes her boobs, which are sagging all the way down to her ankles, in front of children. These are the people that you think are the pillars of society that should be running the country. And then you wonder why Trump won. You wonder why you're losing credibility? Really? Seriously, people? Jill Stein is trying to take your money to contest an election based on a hacking system that doesn't even exist in some of the states that she wants recounts in. And I swear, I know that what's going to happen if they, for whatever reason, and Michigan, I think, is pretty much done. I think they said, we're throwing our hands up. Trump won. We're giving up. I don't care anymore. We don't have a hackable system. This is a paper ballot, and then put it into a scanner system. There is no internet. There is no hacking. What is. So I don't think that they're going to go for it. But let's say they did. I guarantee you, I can't remember if it was Bush Kerry or Bush Gore. I know the hanging chads were with Gore. But there was a case where I think it was Bush and let's say Kerry, because I think this might have been with Kerry. But they did a recount, or it could have been the Gore one. We'll just go with Kerry, though. But they were saying that, oh, look, here is Trump. But if you look really closely, it looks like Trump is crossed out and they actually circled Gore or Kerry or whoever it was. So we're going to give it to Gore or Kerry. Like I said, I'll just say Kerry. So we're going to give it to Kerry. Well, you know what probably happened? The person that's probably doing it has a bias against Bush. So he saw somebody had circled it in for Bush, crossed it off, entered in Kerry, and then said, hey, look, I found another vote for Kerry. And that's probably what would happen if she actually got a revote. It wouldn't be because they legitimately found votes that were meant for Hillary. They would say, oh, look, this one says Trump. Well, just cross it out, fill in Hillary, and then just say, oh, that's what they meant to do. They crossed it out and refilled it in. And who's going to know? Except the person who actually wrote the ballot, but they're not going to know their ballot was tampered with. This is how the left works. It's insanity. It's absolute insanity. And you wonder why you lost? Look to your own leaders. Harry Reid is calling Trump, who won, a legitimate winner. He's calling him a sexual predator and calling his followers racists and bigots and sexists and misogynists. This is a guy who's a leader of our country, or one of the leaders. He's, one of the top dogs. Thank God he's retiring. But he's sitting there basically insulting millions and millions of people who voted for Trump. Then you have a president who's still president-elect that's saying, go out and riot. That's okay. That's your right. Go out. Don't just give in. Be defiant. Instead of saying, you know what, we need to stand unified as a country and make a country stronger because we are stronger together, like Hillary Clinton's catchphrase is, we are stronger together. No, just stay divided. You don't want to be one of them. Just keep fighting, keep being divisive, just keep spreading the hate and call it love. Because that's good for this country. It's good that we're not together and we're not firm and we're not united. So keep doing it. And all the while behind the scenes, Trump is the one saying, let's start coming together. Trump is the one who went and decided to keep Ford in Kentucky, and Ford said, okay, we're not going to go to Mexico. We'll leave this plant open. I mean, Trump is the one who's already working, and he is not even the president yet. He's just the president-elect. Well, we have our own president undermining our country. And then the people that want us to give them to what they want, the people who want their way, are on the streets acting a fool, like that 450-pound Godzilla hooker. In front of children, she is simulating sexual acts with the president-elect's picture and a cardboard cutout of Trump Towers, and then she exposes herself. And what's even more hilarious is the parents of those children don't seem to care. They're laughing and taking video, and the kids are going around to get a better look at the boobs that are exposed, and they're laughing, and those kids couldn't have been they had to be 12 years or younger. They couldn't have been anything older than 13. And the parents don't care. These are the people who want to run our country. These are the people that we want to give our country to. These are the people that we want to go and keep us out of World War III with Russia and Iran and Iraq and, try to fight ISIS. These are the people we want running the shots and telling us how things should be done. People who run around in Godzilla hooker costumes when they're like 400 and some pounds, exposing themselves to children, performing simulated sex acts in front of children because they're upset about the results of a just and fair election. These are the people that we want to cave to and say, oh, you know what? Their panties are in a wad, so let's give them their way. They didn't get their participation trophy, so let's hand them the presidency. People like Jill Stein, who are trying to go and contest the results in Michigan, citing that she thinks a lot of them were hacked when they have a paper ballot system in Michigan. She thinks that the Russians can hack paper ballots. This is the idiocy of the left. And I want you guys to look at yourselves on the left. If anybody on the left is listening to me, look at yourselves. Look at yourselves. And remember, you are why we have Trump. So thank you. Anyway, I guess that's all I really wanted to add to this particular audio. I'm sorry, this is just too funny. It's too funny even for me, but you know what the sad thing is? It's not even a joke. To the left, this isn't a joke. That's what's sad. They actually are serious about this. Anyway, till next time.